Google makes $4.8 million per software engineer every year. You, as a software engineer, make $200,000. So where the hell does the other 4.6 million go? Today, I'm breaking down the mathematics of the tech industry. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your job the same way again. This is the kind of stuff nobody talks about, but it explains everything. Why salaries are so high, why layoffs happen, and why some engineers make 200,000 while others make 2 million. Let's get into it. Here's the best way to think about the tech industry. Big tech companies are money printing machines, and you're the operator. Think about it like this. In a factory, if you hire 10 workers, you get 10 times the output. If you want to double revenue, you need to double headcount. That's linear growth. But in tech, if you hire 10 engineers to build Google Search and 4 billion people use it, those 10 engineers just generated billions in revenue. That's extreme exponential growth, and this is why tech is different from every other industry. In a restaurant, if you want to serve more customers, you need more chefs, more waiters, more space. In retail, if you want to sell more products, you need more inventory, more stores, more salespeople. But in tech, once the code is written, it runs infinitely. Google Search was built by a few thousand engineers, but it serves 4 billion people every single day. Netflix streaming was built by a few thousand engineers, but it serves over 250 million subscribers. Software scales, people don't. And that's the entire business model of big tech. Hire a small number of extremely talented engineers, pay them a ton of money, and let the software they build generate billions. This is a money printing machine. And once you understand how it works, everything else makes sense. So let's break down the math. Let's start with the most important question. How much do software engineers actually make? Here's a simple breakdown. In the entry level, within a few years of experience, you're going to be making 100K to 200K. That's the total comp at FANG. Now, mid-level, with 2 to 5 years of experience, you're making 2 to 300K. And at the senior level, with 5 to 10 years of experience, you're making 3 to 500K. In staff, you can make 500K to $1 million total compensation. Now, here's what most people don't understand. Total compensation is not just your salary. Total comp is base salary plus stock plus bonus. And at FANG, stock makes up 30 to 50%, sometimes more of your total comp. So if you're making 200K total comp, the base salary will be 130K, and the stock plus bonus will be the remaining 70K. This is why engineers at big tech sound like they're making insane money, because they are. But here's the key insight. You're not based on how hard you work, you're paid based on how much value you generate. And here's where the math gets interesting. If you make 200K and Google makes $4.8 million per engineer, you're generating 24 times your salary in revenue. Let me say that again. You're generating 24 times your salary. That means for every $1 Google pays you, they make 24. That's not exploitation, that's just the economics of leverage. And here's the most controversial truth. Most engineers are massively underpaid relative to the value they create. But big tech can get away with it because you don't even know how much value you're actually generating. There's a massive supply of engineers willing to work for 200K. And that 200K still feels like a lot of money compared to other industries. But this is the game. And once you understand it, you realize the companies who make 500K, $1 million, $2 million total compensation aren't just better engineers, they're engineers who understand their leverage and negotiate accordingly. Now let's talk about where that 4.8 million actually comes from. All right, here's a number that explains everything. Revenue per engineer, or RPE. This is determined by total company revenue divided by the number of software engineers. And here are the numbers for 2026. Netflix made $11.4 million per engineer. Meta made $7 million per engineer. Apple, $6.1 million per engineer. Google, 4.8, Microsoft, 3.1, and Amazon AWS, 2.6 million per engineer. Now, most people see those numbers and think, cool, interesting stats, but here's what they actually mean. Netflix has the highest RPE because they have the smallest engineering team relative to revenue. So Netflix makes 40 billion in revenue with only 3,500 engineers. Why? Because once Netflix builds a streaming platform, it doesn't matter if 10 million people use it or 250 million people use it. The code is the same, and that's leverage. Compare that to a restaurant. If a restaurant wants to serve 10 times more customers, they need 10x the chefs, 10x the waiters, and 10x more space. If Netflix wants to serve 10 times more customers, they just do. The software scales infinitely. And here's a controversial insight. The companies with the highest RPE pay the best. Netflix engineers make 3 to 600K. Why? Because Netflix makes $11 million per engineer, whereas Microsoft engineers make 2 to 400K. Why? Because Microsoft only makes $3 million per engineer. Your salary is directly correlated to your company's RPE. And this is why Netflix can pay senior engineers so much, because even if they're paying them $500K, $600K, they're still making over $10 million per engineer. And that's an 18 to 20x return. And side note, this is why quant salaries are so high, because quant companies make even more revenue per head. Companies like Jane Street are generating tens of millions of dollars per person, and therefore the engineer gets paid accordingly. Now here's the math that drives everything. Profit per engineer is revenue per engineer minus cost per engineer. So let's break down the cost per engineer. Cost per engineer is salary plus management overhead. So if Google makes around 4.8 million per engineer, it costs them around 2 to 300K per engineer because of that management overhead. They're making over $4 million of profit per engineer. That's a 95% gross margin. Let me put that in perspective. Apple sells iPhones at 40% margin. That's considered amazing. Walmart operates at a 25% margin, and airlines operate a 5 to 10% gross margin. Big tech operates at 90% margin on engineering talent. And this is why tech is so profitable, and why big tech can afford you to pay 200K, 400K, even $1 million. Now, here's another layer to the mathematics of the tech industry that most people don't realize. For every 10 engineers, there are actually 4 to 5 non-engineers supporting them. So you're not just an engineer, you're part of a larger machine. Let me show you what I mean. So here's the typical ratio for a big tech company. For every 100 engineers, you have 8 to 12 product managers, 12 to 16 engineering managers, 7 to 10 designers, 5 to 7 data scientists, 7 to 10 DevOps/SREs, and 1 to 2 recruiters. That's 40 to 57 support roles for every 100 engineers. So if a company has 10,000 engineers, they have 4 to 5,000 non-engineers just to support those engineers. But here's a controversial part of that. Those support roles don't actually generate revenue. They enable the people who generate revenue. Think about it like a factory. In a factory, you have workers who operate the machines, those are the engineers, supervisors who manage the workers, quality control, and maintenance. See, the workers generate revenue, but everybody else supports them. And here's why this matters. When companies do layoffs, they cut support roles first. Why? Because you have to choose between cutting 10 engineers who generate $48 million in revenue or cutting 10 PMs who do enable engineers but don't directly generate revenue. You cut the PMs. And this is why in the 2023 to 2025 layoff, recruiters got hit the hardest, then PMs, then designers, and engineers got hit last. Because engineers are the money printing machine. Everyone else is overhead. And this kind of goes directly against what most engineers think. Because when most engineers think about layoffs, they think tech companies are coming directly for them, but you don't realize that all of these other support roles are cut first. Now back to that stat about layoffs. Like I said earlier, in 2023 to 2025, tech companies laid off over 500,000 people. Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, everyone did layoffs. And most people don't understand why. They think the company is losing money, they need to cut costs. Wrong. Here's the actual math. Reason number one is overhiring correction. During COVID, 2020 to 2021, tech companies went on a hiring spree. Meta went from 60,000 employees to 86,000 employees in 2 years. That's 26,000 new hires. Google went from 135,000 to 190,000. Why? Because they assumed digital transformation would accelerate forever. But in 2023, they realized, we overhired. We can do the same amount of work with fewer people, so they cut 10 to 20% of their workforce. Meta cut 21,000 people, Google cut 12,000, Amazon 27,000. But here's the key, revenue was still growing. Meta's revenue grew from $118 billion in 2022 to $135 billion in 2023, even after laying off 21,000 people. So it wasn't about survival, it was about efficiency. Reason number two is profitability pressure. From 2010 to 2021, tech operated under growth at all costs. So investors didn't really care about profitability, they cared about user growth, revenue growth, and market share. But in 2021, that changed. Interest rates went up. Investors said, we don't want growth at all costs, we want profit. So companies had to cut costs. And here's the biggest cost, people. Here's the math. If you have 100,000 engineers at 300,000 per engineer, fully loaded, that's 30 billion per year in costs. So if you cut 10%, that's 3 billion per year in savings. That 3 billion goes straight to profit. That's why companies did layoffs. Not because they couldn't afford people, but because investors demanded higher margins. Reason number three is AI efficiency gains. So in 2023 to 2026, AI tools made engineers way more productive. GitHub Copilot writes 40% of your code. ChatGPT debugs code, writes docs, and generates tests. Companies realized if one engineer can now do the work of 1.3, we don't need as many engineers. Here's the formula. Your target headcount equals revenue target divided by RPE times efficiency multiplier. So an example here is if your revenue target is 10 billion, your RPE is 2 million per engineer. Your engineers needed before AI is 5,000, but then AI improves efficiency by 30%. Now each engineer generates 2.6 million. So the engineers needed after AI is only 4,000. So that's over 1,000 fewer engineers. But here's the most controversial truth about tech layoffs. Tech layoffs are fundamentally different from layoffs in other industries. So in manufacturing, if you lay off 10% of your workforce, you produce 10% less product. In tech, if you lay off 10% of your workforce, you can often still ship the same amount of product. Why? Because software has leverage. Once code is written, it runs infinitely. That's the math behind tech layoffs. And here's what it means for you. Your job security isn't about how hard you work, it's about your leverage. If you're expensive and low output, you're at risk. But if you're cheap and high output, you're safe. And if you're high output and the company is profitable, you're very safe. The lesson is maximize your output, so minimize your cost relative to value and work at profitable companies. Let's talk about the 4 types of tech companies and where you should actually work. Now, not all tech companies are the same. There are 4 types and each type has completely different economics. So type 1 is product companies. Think Google, Meta, and Netflix. The business model is build software products, monetize with ads or subscriptions. The RPE is 4 to 10 million, which is very high, and the salaries are highest in the industry. So 200K to 600K from mid to senior. Why are the salaries so high? Massive leverage, small teams, and huge revenue. The next kind of company is a platform company. So think AWS, Stripe, and Twilio. The business model is build infrastructure and APIs, charge per usage. So the RPE there is 2 to 4 million. The salaries are competitive with product companies, 200K to 500K. So while these salaries sometimes aren't as high, the benefit is that there's a lot less volatility with the B2B market than the B2C market. Plus, companies like Stripe, subsections of companies like AWS are often cash printing machines. So if you have the choice to work for a product company or an infrastructure company, infrastructure is usually the safer bet. Type 3 are services companies. So think Accenture, consulting firms, and the business model there is bill engineers time to clients. The RPE there is 2 to 500K, and the salaries are definitely lower in the FANG, usually only 100K to 150. So why is that? There's no leverage. If you want 2 times revenue, you're going to need 2 times the engineers. Now, type 4 is hardware companies. Think Apple, Tesla. The business model there is build hardware plus software. The RPE is $2 to $8 million, and the salaries are competitive but vary by role. So why is this category less profitable than the first 2? Sure, engineers design products, but to ship those products, you need manufacturing, supply chains, and retail. So here's the truth. Your company type determines your salary, job security, and career trajectory more than your skills. See, a mid-level engineer at Netflix makes 400K, but a mid-level engineer at Accenture only makes 120K. Same skills, different business model. So the lesson here is if you want high comp, aim for a product or platform company. All right, we've covered the math. Now let's talk about what it all means. So here are the 5 controversial truths that this model reveals. Truth number 1 is you're probably underpaid, but you'll never know. If you make 200K and generate $5 million in revenue, you're creating 24 times your salary and value. But here's the thing, you'll never know your true value because companies don't tell you. They don't say, hey, you generated $5 million in revenue this year, here's a 500K raise. They say, you did great work, here's a 3% cost of living adjustment. The engineers who make 500K, a million, 2 million aren't necessarily better, they just understand their leverage and negotiate accordingly. Truth number 2, layoffs aren't about performance, they're about math. In the 2023 to 2025 layoffs, some of the best engineers got laid off. Why? Because layoffs aren't about individual performance, they're about organization level math. If a company decides we're cutting 10% of engineering, they cut 10% regardless of performance. Sure, low performers get cut first, but after that, it's just math. So your job security isn't about how hard you work, it's about your leverage, your cost relative to output, and your company profitability. So if you're trying to increase job security, make sure that you work in a cost-centered division of a tech company, in a tech company that's relatively stable and profitable. And truth number 3 is most engineers are overhead. Here's the harsh reality. From a business perspective, there are 2 types of engineers. 1, revenue generators, so engineers who work on products that directly drive revenue, so ads, subscriptions, payments, growth. Infrastructure and platform engineers, so engineers who support revenue generators but don't directly generate revenue. And when layoffs happen, number 2 get cut first. This doesn't mean infrastructure engineers aren't important, they are, but from a pure business math perspective, they're overhead. So The lesson here, like I mentioned earlier, if you want job security, work on revenue generating products. And truth number 4 is that 10x engineer is real, it's just economics. People love to debate whether 10x engineers exist, but here's the answer: yes, but not because they're 10 times smarter. A 10x engineer is someone whose decisions multiply the output of 10 other engineers. So an example here is a junior engineer writes code, that's just 1x leverage. A senior engineer designs a system that 10 engineers build, that's 10x leverage. A staff engineer makes architectural decisions that affect 50 engineers, 50x leverage. 10x isn't about typing speed, it's about leverage. And this is why staff plus engineers make 500K to $1 million, because their leverage is 10 to 50x higher. And truth number 5 is AI won't replace engineers, but it will change who gets paid. So in 2030, the average engineer will be 2 to 3x more productive because of AI tools. That means that companies will need fewer engineers, but the engineers that do need will be paid more. So the engineers who can't use AI will be replaced by the engineers who can. This isn't about AI taking your job. It's about AI augmented engineers taking jobs from non-AI augmented engineers. So the lesson is learn to use AI tools, become an AI augmented engineer, or get left behind. So here's the bottom line. The tech industry is a business, and like any business, it's driven by math, revenue, costs, profit, efficiency, and leverage. And most engineers never think about this stuff. They just show up, write code, and hope for the best. But if you understand the math, you have an unfair advantage. If you want the full system, personalized career coaching, resume help, interview prep, and negotiation strategies, that's what the Software Engineering Accelerator is for. We've helped over 400 students land offers at top companies and negotiate higher comp. So if you're serious about maximizing your career, working with FANG engineers and recruiters, check it out. The link is in the description. Now, if you're interested in the exact resume that I used to generate over 30 FANG level interviews, click this video over here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.